Good afternoon. Honored guests, distinguished educators, ladies and gentlemen. I want to express my thanks to the two organizations which put this conference together for the opportunity to be with you today. And I'd like to thank all of you for the opportunity to learn from our Chinese colleagues. As always, it has been a true education, and I thank each and every one of you. With your permission, and I hope you won't think that I'm being too rude a guest, I might take issue with the theme of this conference and say that in the opinion of the National Association of Independent Schools, which represents 1,470 private secondary schools in the United States, what we really need is global and not international education. International education, in my opinion, in our opinion, is a part of global education, but it is not the entire game. Okay? Okay. As we've heard today, we know that international education is increasing all the time. The statistics that we have from ISC research indicate the number of English language international schools grew from 2,500 in 2000 to 6,500 in 2013, as it is expected to reach 11,300 by 2022. They find 342 international schools in China. NAIS member schools are certainly participating in international education in welcoming international students. Out of our 1,470 schools, about half, or 726, admit international students, and almost all of them have at least one from China. Many have many more than that. But boarding schools are reaching their capacity to admit international students, with the exception of some schools that Chinese parents may not want because of the high number of Chinese students attending them. Also, day schools do have the capacity to admit more international students, but it's not infinite. And in any case, international is not global. Many international schools serve mostly home country students, and international students may not be well taken care of and properly integrated into the schools that they attend, so they are being exploited as a source of revenue. Some of the speakers earlier today made reference to some of the problems that your international students face when they go abroad. So let me say, if it's not international education that we're looking for, but true global education, what is it? We say in true global education, students don't just learn about the world, they learn in the world. And they do so through experiential, project-based, and virtual online learning. Incidentally, there is information about all three of those kinds of learning on our website, which is www.nais.org. Now, among our member schools, 95% have at least one global program, and most have several. So, what do we mean when we talk about global, where students are learning in the world? A global education program is a comprehensive, integrated use of multidisciplinary curriculum, early, intensive, and multiple language instruction, trips, especially service learning for students, and professional development for teachers, exchanges of students and faculty, sister schools and partnerships, and online and web platform methods of communication and collaboration. Now, the trips, to be successful, must be fully integrated with the curriculum and should follow the preparation, exposure, reflection, assessment model. Online collaboration opportunities include NAIS's own program, which is called Challenge 2020, a free internet partnership program to work on global problems. If you are interested for your school, I have a few of these brochures. I have my card. I'll be happy to give it to you afterward. Now, the goal of this global education is global competence, which the Asia Society's motto says, what happens with students who are globally competent is that they can investigate the world, they can weigh the perspectives. In other words, they weigh their own perspectives because they recognize and understand how their assumptions and values shape their perspectives, and they also analyze the perspectives of others. They communicate ideas, and they take action. How do we get there? We backward design from the critical outcomes, in addition to the 5 C's that I'm sure you're familiar with, that so many people talk about: creativity, collaboration, critical thinking, communication, and character. I would add a 6th C, cosmopolitanism, and 2 E's, empathy, which my colleague Steve talked about, and ethics. Now, cosmopolitanism, or being a citizen of the world, is actually a philosophical approach, and it provides a moral argument for the responsibility for the impact we have on others, for seeing others' perspectives, and for interconnectedness. Global cosmopolitanism is taking it a little bit further. People who are global cosmopolitans embody and demonstrate 5 key characteristics, according to Linda Brim, the professor emeritus at INSEAD in France. And those 5 are: see change as normal, as outsiders to fixed cultural rules, rely on creative thinking, reinvent themselves and experiment with new identities, are experts at the subtle and emotional aspects of transition, and easily learn and use new ways of thinking, which means they have a high EQ, emotional quotient, as well as a high IQ. And as we suggested, students must develop self-knowledge to realize how they filter the world around them first, and then the next rung up the ladder is to be able to step out of their own mindset, to reinvent themselves, and to truly appreciate others. And appreciating others, as Steve so well said, requires empathy. It's the key to seeing things from other perspectives. It goes beyond tolerance to the willingness and capacity to be part of another's experience. It does not, however, mean agreement. It is definitely powerful. Research shows that empathy increases cognitive skills and academic achievement. So just a couple of ways that we're working with our schools to try to promote global education. Going beyond sister schools and partnerships to satellite campuses. I know this is something that some schools are looking into here in China. Creating campuses in other countries. There are only a few involving our schools that are up and running. They are in Korea, underway in China. Chadwick, Shattuck St. Mary's, and St. Mary's of Oregon are among our schools that have done this model. But some NAIS schools who would like to have satellite campuses have decided not to go that route because of fears about sharing control over the institution. I think we heard earlier today about some of the pitfalls of joint ventures. And to be truly a satellite campus, we are not talking about a school that's willing to rent out its curriculum and its name as a source of revenue. We're talking about, again, true partnership. Another aspect of true partnership is joint learning experiences. Multi-school, multi-country collaborations. Again, Steve referred to one that he hopes to sign in Russia. There are some other examples of it are the Global Youth Leadership Initiative, which brings people together from around the world. The Global Leadership Forum at the United World Colleges in Arizona in the United States. The International Emerging Leaders Conference at the Collegiate School of Virginia, and the Student Global Leadership Institute at the Punahou School in Hawaii. What these programs share in common is they all benefit from a multiplier effect. When you bring kids together from multiple cultures, you don't just get some empathy, some learning, some ability to see things from other perspectives. You get a terrific jump in a student's ability to do those things. Of course, there's online collaboration. The Global Online Academy, for example, which features a number of the United States schools and King's Academy in Jordan, and the Online School for Girls, which is growing by leaps and bounds. One other concept that I would just like to talk about that we have been promoting as part of this whole idea of global education, which is local education. Because global really does mean global. It doesn't mean putting your kid in somebody else's country, having somebody's kid in your country. It means working with your own communities, in your own backyard, because you are seeking to understand the perspectives of all the people that make up your own community, your own district, your own province, your own country, and then ultimately the world. So education for both local and global citizenship, because what we do impacts elsewhere, and what happens elsewhere washes up on us and must be placed in context. There is a two-way causal flow. Local interactions generate global trends, and global trends are adapted for local contexts. Schools are motivating students to participate in initiatives locally and then reach out regionally, nationally, and ultimately internationally. And one of the ways we like to think about this whole concept is that there is, because we're private schools, is that there must be a public purpose to private education. That private schools no longer have the luxury of educating a tiny number of people who can afford to pay tuition. That we have a responsibility to our society and ultimately to the entire world to improve the quality of education for everyone. And so we are re-engaging with public schools in our communities to try to figure out ways of doing a better job to educate all children. Let me just finish this argument about why we think it's global education and not international education by quoting an article that appeared in our independent school magazine in the most recent issue, in which the authors wrote, "Global education provides an ideal way to fuse utility and meaning in our classrooms because it increases our capacity to make dynamic connections." That opportunity exists for every student in every school, whether they are part of an international department, whether they have the ability to pack up and move to another country. They can still have a global education. They can still learn to see the world from multiple perspectives. They can be part of the future that will belong to all of our students and that we will share. And if we share it properly, I hope that we can avoid some of the more pessimistic outcomes that Mr. Chen alluded to earlier today, and that we will have true global collaboration. Thank you very much.